already done with the program list. You guys have a very good idea about those signals as well. So quickly drop over the chat box which specialty you are already, planned for, which is in your mind, what list you have already made up. Quickly over the chat box, which specialty you are planning for. So if you are planning for example, family medicine, you have 5 signals. You are planning for internal medicine, you have 12 plus 3, 15 signals. For internal medicine, psychiatry, 2 signals. Neurological surgery, 25 signals. Obstetrics, gynecology, 18 signals. Orthopedics, 30 signals. Your pediatrics, 5 signals. Psychiatry, 10 signals. And transitional position, that is 12 signals, right? So let's, for example, somebody had said, okay, I applied in IM plus FM both. I kept my 100 programs of IM and 80 programs of FM, 85 programs. So you'll get an opportunity to separately add 5 programs of family medicine to signal and 100 program out of 100 programs, 15 programs to signal for internal medicine. So that is completely possible if you do have such type of, concern. So yeah, you can do that. That's not an issue. So Dipesh, you are from psychiatry, Drisha, internal medicine, psychiatry. So no worries, you have your 10 programs for psychiatry and 15 programs for IM. So you have 25 programs to signal them. Okay. But choosing it very, very wisely. Now, here is a check. Let us discuss how to choose it, right? So consider an example. The first one is, what if you'll get an opportunity to signal John Hopkins, Harvard's, and let's say another top names. Okay. So do you want to signal them? Because you got an opportunity. Through this signal, they will be able to see you very carefully, or they'll be able to see you that you had actually signaled them. So what you gonna do? Do you gonna apply to Harvard and then John Hopkins and then Mount Sinai and these all which are very top, typical programs? Dinky said no, I don't wanna apply. Anyone else? Any thought? So I must say that first see, are you compatible to get an interview in such competitive programs whose requirement is very high? And if your requirements are meeting, then only you have to signal. Blindly signaling any program is of no use. It is like, you have bow to shoot, but you said I have 10 points, 9.5 points, but I'll shoot anywhere. So you have to keep, this is your 10-point signal. So you have to keep it very, very sharply. Where you had an experience, first very important one. Whether you had an experience, signal them. Where your med school students who got matched, you should signal them. Whether you are where you are specifically interested in which state and whose IMG selection ratio is very high, whose program IMG selection ratio is very high, then signal them. And signal to a program where you find that I can have my own networking. Somebody can give me my, strong ties and supports can help me to get an interview. Do not apply, do not think that okay, if you signal, you're surely going to get an interview. I had a student who had used all their 15 signals, got only 2 interviews. On the another side, I had a student who had applied for 15 signals and get 13 interviews from the same programs. So I have seen that signals plays a value. It depends on conditions to conditions. It depends on interest to interest. It depends on where you are exactly interested versus where exactly your profile says. If your profile is not competitive, then there is no mean to signal them. All right. So Sabha is having a question. Can we apply to internal medicine, cardiac, thoracic surgery? Let's consider surgery at the same time. Okay, or we should choose either surgery or medicine. I wanted to apply in Rutuga Internal Medicine Program, Petersburg for surgery. Pittsburgh for the surgery where it accepts. So I will go. I have to ask, can I? See, you can. Okay. You need to understand. You cannot make two different eras. You can only make one eras. If your ERAS is something showing surgery, something showing medicine, every single program becomes complicated. What exactly you want? Do you want surgery? Do you want medicine? If your entire profile shows the interest towards surgery, then I personally suggest you apply majorly in surgery and keep a backup option as a medicine. Okay, because might be a program who sees you are a very strong competitive applicant, but you applied in surgery, but if you had applied, might be they thought that okay, this candidate should come to our program if we can convince. So they might call for an interview to you. Okay. What would you say about how to use median score? So Amulya, can you specify what is mean by median score? Which exactly you are talking about and which median you are talking about? Yeah, Hesha, you can signal. That's not an issue. If you had a experience outside of your geographical preference, you must signal them because you had an experience. Experience is more important than signaling. Okay? Median score in the Residency Explorer. See, understand one thing. Uh, this is a very complicated, answer. I want to say you that. Okay, the entire data is always incomplete because you do have an opportunity that they ask for a consent whether this data should be announced after the match cycle. That means post results. So you have an opportunity to keep it anonymous. When you keep it anonymous, in that case, what will gonna happen is, let's say 50,000 students applied, 5,000 says anonymous, that it becomes 45,000. So when it becomes 45,000, the data mismatch, the data balance is mismatched. Point number one. Point number two, entire data has not been given by the programs too. Lot of time websites is different, program details are different, Residency Explorer is telling something different, Frida is telling something different, EMA is telling something different, and the website is telling something different. And when the student match, they said something very different. So it is not, uniformed. So it is not nowhere uniformed. You need to understand. So it is, instead of considering a median score data, let's say for example, somebody had said between 220 to 224. So consider a bare minimum or a topper side only. That is personally on your ground. I suggest that keep it on a minimum ground only. Because you have opportunities. Might be one program considers you, one programs may not consider you. But this is your entire year investment now. So instead of keeping two, three options left, add all of those opportunities. Okay. So Dinky is having another question. What program exactly we should signal? The one who interviewed more IMGs last year, or the one who have more IMGs at a time? Should we consider whether their residents are specifically from which country or not? Uh, so the thing is that you need to understand, Dinky, it is completely, I would say if I'll be on your behalf, so I first check who's are the one who matched last year. Okay, because the trend comes based on the results. So I had a result of, let's say, PGY1. I know these students got matched. So first I check whether these are international medical graduate friendly. Second, I'll check whether they are my regional specific, like my country specific. And then again, I check if there is any person who is from my medical school. Like for an example, there are programs who had very Gujarati specific students. Most of the Gujaratis are there. Most of the Chinese are there. Most of the Afghanis are there. So it is very conditional. Okay, and but when you do, you will be having a very limited space. So try to be open ended. First choose the way I told you, then you, if you still have opportunities to signal to the other criteria as we have mentioned. Okay. So, Jenny, in your case, I personally not suggest to apply in 225 to 235, especially if you had a step 2 CK, because step 2 is very, very critical, result that matters the most. So consider on a lower ground only, not on a higher ground. Okay. The basic reason is that when they have a expectation of 235, that is not actually 235, they are expecting more than 235. I have seen none a single program who had written 220 and taking 218 student. They are taking more than that only. Okay. So YOG, you need to be specific. Okay, 1 year is okay. Like if you are a 1 year gap student, then I think you should apply in all the programs. But if you do have a 2, 3 years of a gap, keep very, very importantly this condition on mind that you must not have that gap. Because if you do have a gap, straight away they reject. Straight away they reject. Scores can be flexible because that is, considerable. But when somebody asks you, why so late? Why you come to my destination late? If you already have a step 1 done, step 2 done, right? So that's why the people said that if you are matched in the first cycle, that is the very, very, very good thing. Otherwise, day by day, when you lose opportunity, your chances also becomes, less. So we have also made a database based on the lot of different facts and figures. So you can simply go to programinsider.in and here is a search program option. We are daily updating the resident data as well. So if you are specifically choosing that I want to join a program, and you consider yourself that, okay, for example, I wanted to see the programs and their entire resident database. So we are also working hard to give you those kind of an information. That information will help you to get the insider detail about that particular program as well. So I'm gonna showcase here to you. Just give me. So it is the University of Texas Health Program at Houston. So it's one of the family medicine program I'm going to show you. So these are the basic details which we had tried to figure out. And this is the PGY1 resident, or not exactly the PGY1, I would say the residents database which is there. So we had tried to find out which residents graduate from which med school, and based on the med school detail, we had find the best relatable information. Okay. So we don't have all the specialization database, but we are trying to fetch for IM and FM because most of the applicants apply in internal medicine and family medicine only. Okay. So you can see the names, you can see their graduation, went from which med school, and that will help you to find out that whether I should apply in such programs or not. Okay. This is how we are trying to help our students, those who had already taken a part of Program Insider. If you also wanted to be, the one who wanted to take our services, our prep, so we are there to help you out. You can, simply go to the chat and you can drop the message to the given contact numbers. Okay. Also, in the meanwhile, if you are looking forward for your ERAS application review and the personal statement preparation. So we usually do the thing like this. Okay, we have the trainers and these trainers are sitting with you to actually first understand what is your story. And based on your story, based on your efforts, based on your entire experience and the research that you have done it throughout the year, based on that we'll be helping you to make the final eras cut to cut that will help you to get more and more interviews. And the best part here is these trainers are already been into the residencies. These trainers are those who had already been into the residency cycle of the match system. So they know how program looks at you. They know how the coordinators will gonna give you an interview if you do like this. Okay, so that's how we try our best to provide you the assistance. For more such information, how to be a part of it, what you wanted to get it, and how we can assist you out, you can drop the chat over the given contact number and we are there to help you out. Give preference or no preference? Uh, Keeping it no preference, I personally not suggest you, as I have mentioned over our entire webinar. I suggest to have a preference. Okay. this will come down when you make your final list of programs, or not final, even a a draft that you made, a ballpark 250 200 programs that you're planning for. So you'll be able to figure it out which states to be applied, and the states where you are applying are comes under which region of a geographical preference, and that's how you'll be able to make your final call. If my score is 245 and the median is 255 on Residency Explorer, what would be still be the wise to signal? If I have a connection the program, I really would like you to said about my data earlier. I didn't know that there is a choice to report scores. So consider like this, okay, when the program had interviewed the people, they interviewed to lot of people, right? And when somebody got matched based on their step scores, the data came. Now the data is saying that the mean is 245. When I say mean, that is between, let's say, five students applied, five got matched. Somebody had 272, 252, 249, 240, 245. So you need to check that what is the eligibility. It is not about mean, median, and match. It is about eligibility. Once your eligibility comes, you got an interview. If your scores are not exactly what they're expecting, but nearby to that, they'll be probably gonna select you. And that will gonna have under your interview rounds only. So, giving a specific example is not possible because everybody is having their own story behind joining a particular region. For example, you might have not rotated under the New York, but still you want to choose the New York. So it is not just because it's an IMG friendly position, but it might be because your friend circles, your connects, your further fellow Indian residents are already there, right? So you can create a story like this and able to make it happen. All right. So I think I'm done with it. Any further questions? You have an opportunity to drop a message over the contact number that is mentioned below. So I hope this session helps you a lot. In the meanwhile, if you want to give us a review, so we are most welcome. Your reviews are very, very important for us. And if you do have any further questions and you wanted to have a further webinar on different topics, so you can drop us a chat that what all the important topics or important sessions you want to have it, so that I can and my team can do it. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.